So you've launched your new website, it looks amazing, the whole team's celebrating, and you feel like you can finally check that huge project off the list. But here's the thing. Launching your site isn't the finish line. Not even close. It's actually the starting line for the real work, the stuff that protects your investment and stops it from becoming a silent liability. Let's just start with a quick, honest self-test. Right now, do you know for a fact that your contact forms are working? Are you 100% sure that security updates are being run on a regular schedule? If you're hesitating even a little bit, you're in exactly the right place. Because we're about to dig into why that little bit of uncertainty is a massive business risk. This quote really hits the nail on the head. A website doesn't usually just crash and burn one day in a spectacular failure. No, it's much quieter than that. It's a slow fade. A form breaks here, a page becomes outdated there, a security plugin isn't updated, and no one even notices. Until, of course, it's way too late. All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to look at the problem itself, what we're calling the silent decline. Then we'll talk about the real-world impact, the actual cost to your business. After that, we'll shift to the solution, what good maintenance really looks like. And finally, we'll get practical, breaking down the costs and showing you how to spot a bad deal from a mile away. Okay, let's dive right into part one, your website's silent decline. This is all about how that shiny, perfect website you launched can start to fall apart over time, often in ways that are totally invisible, until a customer complains or a lead goes missing. And here are the telltale signs of that decline. We're talking about things like your services page describing something you don't even offer anymore, or those contact forms that just swallow messages into a black hole, or website load times that get a tiny bit slower every single week until your site just feels sluggish. Each one seems like a small thing, but trust me, they add up. So here's the mindset shift we all need to make. Your website is not a static brochure that you print once and then it's done. No way. It is a living, breathing part of your business. It's your 24/7 sales floor, it's your #1 recruiting tool, and for most people, it's the very first impression they'll ever have of your company. Which leads us perfectly into our second section, the real cost of neglect. Because all those little technical glitches we just talked about, well, they have very real and sometimes very painful consequences for your bottom line. And here's what that cost looks like when you break it down. A massive 40% of the damage comes from just lost business, lost leads, missed inquiries, all because something was broken. The next biggest piece, at 30%, is the damage to your reputation and customer trust. Then you've got the expensive emergency fixes you have to pay for. And finally, the fact that you're just throwing away the money you spent to build the site in the first place. And this is maybe the most important point about the money side of things. Trying to save money by skipping maintenance is a total illusion. You're not actually saving anything. You're just kicking the can down the road, where the costs will pop up later as frantic, expensive emergency repairs. And even worse, all that lost business you'll never even know you missed. Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem. What's the solution? That brings us to section 3. What good maintenance includes. And spoiler alert, it is so much more than just having someone click the update button every now and then. A really solid, proactive plan is built on 4 pillars. First, you absolutely need reliable updates and a recovery process that you know works. Second, you need what's called real security logic. Third, somebody has to be looking after your content and making sure it's actually converting visitors. And fourth, you have to maintain your SEO so you don't just slowly vanish from Google. Let's just zoom in on that second pillar for a moment. What in the world is real security logic? It's not just a vague promise like, we keep your site secure. No, it is a clear, documented process. It means you know exactly who has access to what, how security patches are tested and applied, what's being monitored, and what the step-by-step plan is if something bad actually happens. It's a system, not a sales pitch. Now, of course, this level of care comes with a cost. So in our 4th section, we're going to talk about understanding maintenance costs and, more importantly, how to frame this as an essential business investment, not just another expense. This is absolutely critical. If you start by asking, how cheap can I get this done? You are setting yourself up for failure. That's the wrong question. The right question, the smart question is, what level of security, reliability, and business growth does my company actually need from our website? It's a total shift in perspective.
So this table gives us some pretty realistic goalposts. At a basis tier, you're really just covering the absolute essentials, the technical updates, backups, that sort of thing. Move up to standard, and you start getting more proactive help, like small content changes and basic SEO checks. And then at the growth tier, you're really treating the website as a lead generation engine with active optimization and reporting.
All right, this brings us to our final and maybe most actionable section, avoiding the wrong partner. Now that you know what to look for and what it might cost, let's talk about the big red flags that should make you run in the other direction. Okay, be very, very wary of any offer that doesn't have a super clear, written down scope of work. What exactly are they doing each month? Watch out for those vague security promises we talked about. If they don't bring up SEO, that's a huge warning sign. And if they can't explain their process for getting your approval on changes, things are going to get messy. This final quote really wraps everything up so perfectly. Your website is a valuable business asset, right? But just like any other asset, it only holds its value if someone is actively taking care of it, protecting it from harm, and developing it to create new opportunities. So I'll leave you with this one question to really think about. Right now, today, is your website an asset that's actively growing and contributing to your business? Or is it a ticking time bomb, a hidden risk that's just waiting to cause a problem? The choice really is up to you.